Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with yet another zombie movie. And this is one I don't think too many people have seen. I haven't really seen many reviews of it, I haven't heard almost anybody talk about it. It's a 2010 film from the Ford brothers. I'm not sure what else they've done, but it is The Dead. Of course, around 2010, there were zombie movies coming out the ass. They were coming out all the time. Backed on the cover, Mark L. Miller from Ain't It Cool News, the best zombie movie of the year. Which they really were coming out all the fucking time. Especially independently. And a lot of zombie films that just come out of nowhere, especially in independent films, they usually suck. They're usually pretty fucking terrible. This movie's actually pretty good. Even though it's sort of underseen, I would definitely say it's underrated. I mean, it's not the best by any means, but it does get a lot of stuff right. It's a very simple movie. It takes place in Africa, which that's one thing that this movie's pretty original. It takes place in Africa. It does a very good job at the setting, the atmosphere. And it's about this flight engineer named Brian Murphy, played by Rob Freeman. It opens up with him on this plane of other soldiers and survivors. It's the last evacuation out of Africa. Because at this point, it was pretty much just like an African kind of disease. You find out through exposition that there was a zombie attack. They had to leave in a hurry. Fuel lines were still connected. Plane's all fucked up. And it goes down off the coast. He washes up. He's the only survivor. He washes up on Africa. And it's just him on the road pretty much the whole time. There's also this other guy named Daniel, played by Prince David Osei. I'm guessing is how you pronounce it. He's from the area. He's a local African soldier who's gone AWOL to find his son. They cross paths, decide to team up, and because there's like this sort of army base a couple 100 miles away where they've been hoarding survivors. Daniel wants to find his son. Brian wants to find a plane to make it back to America, to his family. So it's pretty much just them trying to get from A to B with a lot in between. It is a very slow movie, but where it all takes place with them sort of on the go. There's plenty of zombie action along the way. And this movie does a very good job at, because a lot of zombie movies, it's like, oh, it's safe here, let's camp out here for a while. Then you have a lot of character moments. This movie's not really like that. They're always on the go, and since they're always outside, it does a very good job at just showing that Africa is pretty devastated by this infection. They do say that it's an infection. Whoops. And I mean, like, whenever they're stopped, or even when they're driving or walking, the camera will look around and you just see like a bunch of them kind of coming out of the distance. So it really does make it feel like it's unsafe to walk. It does utilize its setting and atmosphere very well. Like, it'll show a lot of shots of like the sun and shows them sweating. It really does well at taking advantage of its atmosphere. Even when you don't see zombies, there's a lot of dead bodies lying around. There's always things everywhere. Just show that it's hit the whole country, the whole continent. You do get some kind of interesting scenes that let you know how serious it is. Like, there's a part where they're in a truck, this old beat to shit truck, and they've lost a lot of coolant. And the only way to keep it going is Brian says we have to put what's left of our canteens in the truck. Daniel's like, we still have like a bunch of miles to go in the hot sun. So it's like, do we save our water and walk? Do we use our water or drive? So it's just cool little interesting scenes to let you know how serious the situation is. And it kind of did a good job with the ending. I mean, spoiler alert here, even though I don't know too many people that have seen this or even know about it. Brian's the only one that makes it. And he makes it to the place, find out there's no plane. There's a radio that's all beat up. He fixes it. And he gets in contact with the base back home, and he's told that the infection has reached America. And it's pretty much almost in the same state that Africa's in. And that his family's gone. And there's no way out. He's either stuck there or he can go home to the same problem. He finds Daniel's son, gives him, earlier Daniel talks about this necklace it's like an African symbol that stands for hope. When Daniel dies, Brian takes it so he can give it to him. And then the film just ends. It ends with the zombies breaking through the barricade and eating all the survivors. And just sort of ends with Brian and Daniel's son sort of looking at the chaos. Leaves their fate ambiguous. So the whole movie is him trying to get to this place, and then he's only there for like 5 minutes and the movie ends. But, you know, I still think this movie did a good job at doing what it was supposed to do. The gore effects are good. You know, like when they bite flesh, the effects look pretty decent. The look of the zombies look good also. It's not too extensive. Like, it's not like a Tom Savini effect movie. They just have like these white contacts and maybe some blood on them. But it gets the point across. They're not very fast. They're slow, but, you know, if there's a lot of them, they'll get a hold of you. You know, they are a bit more faster than in a George Romero film. I guess this movie was very hard to make since it was shot in Africa. Like, I guess the guy that plays Brian, Rob Freeman, contracted malaria. He had to be taken care of. There was a bunch of damage because of the heat to the camera equipment. So it was written and directed by Howard and John Ford. And I guess Howard Ford wrote a book about how hellish it was to make this. And I mean, for a very underseen independent film, I thought, you know, it is very slow. It is a road movie. But there's definitely plenty going on. There's zombie scenes throughout the whole film. There's never a real down moment. And yeah, I would say of all the really independent, sort of lesser known pile of zombie movies that are usually crap, this one's actually pretty good and fairly original, which it's hard to make an original movie, original zombie movie, especially in like 2010. It is a bit longer. It's 105 minutes, so a little bit longer than your average zombie movie. But, you know, I thought it was well acted, even though Rob Freeman kind of sounds like Nicolas Cage at some points. But I thought the African guy that plays Daniel, he did a good job. But I would say the atmosphere and the usage of its setting is probably the best aspect of this movie. Did a very good job with it. Not too much to say, but it's kind of hard to talk about a movie where it's all just about these two guys trying to get from A to B in sort of zombie land. But anyway, not a bad movie. It's a shame that a lot of people don't know about this one. But if you're a zombie fan, I would highly recommend it. I will say it is weird that it's called The Dead, even though they refer to them as infected and call it a virus. But anyway, I thought it was pretty good. So for Room 237, thank you for watching.